Assalamu alaikum, and a very good morning to you all. At the very outset of my space, I'd like to welcome you, all the cadets of 42nd intake of Borishal Cadet College. I think you are mentally well and physically sound. Cadets, you all know that due to the pandemic corona, I am the Saiful Islam Associate Professor of History has decided to take online class. And I expect that you will be with me for the next 40 minutes. Cadets, you all know that whole world is COVID-19 affected. In Bangladesh, now it is dangerous condition. So all time you should maintain quarantine. Wash your hand again and again, and don't take cold water and ice cream. I think Allah will save us. So, my dear cadets, no more introduction, no more late. Let's have a look into our today's topics. And first of all, I would like to thanks for my previous class and exam. You did well. Today, my discussion topics is cultural change and development process of Bangladesh. After the end of my lecture, you will be able to know what culture is and what cultural change is. You will be understand how does cultural assimilation occur, and you can be explain gradual development of Bengali culture. Cadets, so I would like to go for the definition of culture. First of all, what is culture? Culture is an umbrella term which encompasses the social behavior and norms found in human society. Culture derives from the French word, which is term derives from Latin culere, that means cultivation and nature. Cadets, culture is the characteristics and knowledge of particular group of people. Mind it, culture is the characteristic and knowledge of particular group of people, encompassing language, religion, cohesion, social habits, music, and art. So it can be said that so what we are, where we live, what we use, what we create, what events we celebrate, what we are, how we are, what we believe is right or wrong, how we sit, how we greet visitors, millions of other things. As an example, if you ask 100 anthropologists to define culture, you will get 100 different definitions. Cadets, you will get 100 definitions. So culture is what not. Everything is included in your culture. So it can be said that by culture, we generally mean the means and way of living of the people of the society. It means culture is our way of life. What man creates to sustain his existence and to fulfill his basic needs is his culture. Clear, my dear boys? If we say one in a word way, in a line, that culture is what we are, I think I'm quite able to make you understand what is culture, what is the definition of culture. Cadets, culture is divided into two groups: material culture and abstract culture. Material culture includes house, utensil, dress, ornaments, transport, furniture, food, shelter, production, instrument, etc. That is, what is material? It is include the material culture. Now, the abstract culture. Abstract culture consists of skill, knowledge, thoughts, opinion, song, language, literature, art, festival, behaviors, beliefs, ideals, music, etc. So, cadets, I think you understood what is material culture, what is abstract culture. Yes, cadets, you can see the culture wheel. Here you can see that these things are included in culture: values, food and drinks, the art, tools and objects, technology and skills, tradition and rituals, language, knowledge and stories, greater community, all are includes culture. So I think you better understand about the definition of culture. So cadets, I should go for next definition. That is cultural change. Cadets, culture is not static. Culture is transferable. So culture is transferred from one generation to another, one society to another, one country to another. Thus, through this process of transfer, some changes occur in culture. Again, culture may change coming in touch with another culture. I would like to repeat, culture is transferable. Culture transfer generation to generation, society to society, country to country. This process, this transfer, some changes occur in culture. Again, culture may change coming in the touch with the other culture. This is called cultural change. Cadets, I think understood about the cultural change. Now, I would like to discuss about the different elements of cultural change. There are some reasons for cultural variation. Number one, span of culture. What is the span of culture? When two cultures come in close contact and change each other. Two cultures come in close contact and change each other. One culture will receive something from the other culture through this process. Through this process, one culture will receive something from the other culture through this process. This moving tendency of culture and is spread from one society to another are called the span of culture. This moving tendency of culture and this spread from one society to another are called the span of culture. So it can be said that culture is spread through the mixture of culture. Culture is spread through the mixture of culture. Now, the culturalization. The process of receiving the elements of other culture and making them up one's own by keeping the original one untouched is called culturalization. I repeat, the process of receiving the elements of other culture and making them up one's own by keeping the original one untouched is called culturalization. Correct? It will be clear if I set an example that we ruled several times by foreigners like Sultan, Mughal, English, or other foreigners. We can see so many Portuguese word, English word enter into our literature, like pineapple, star fruit, guava, chia, tevil, etc. This word enter into our culture, and it certainly enrich our culture. Cadets, you know, I think Mughlai paratha is very much favorite to you. Do you know where it come from? We learn to make Mughlai paratha from the Mughals. Not only that, Rasgulla. Rasgulla, to make Rasgulla from Portuguese. And this culture is entered into our Bengali culture. That is culturalization. I think I'm quite able to make you understand about the definition of culturalization. Now, the cultural absorption. Cultural absorption is a kind of process through which individual or group absorb other culture. I repeat, cultural absorption is a kind of process through which individual or group absorb other culture. For example, I think it will be clear to you, when a people migrate from him or her locality for the sake of the livelihood, material status, or any other reason, when people migrate from him or her locality for the sake of livelihood, material status, or any other reason, they try to integrate themselves with the culture of that area. That is culturalization. Now, the cultural ideals. The culture of every country or society has its own cultural ideals, own cultural identity, which mean the type of culture of the people of country or society. An example, China, Britain, France, Uganda, Iran, Bangladesh. There are some different identity. There are some different ideal of culture, their food habits, their food, their dress, the wearing style of dress, their beliefs, their religion, their music, their behaviors, etc. That is the cultural ideals of their lifestyle and pattern of life. And this identity afford their nation. So I think you have to understand about the cultural ideals. Now, the technology and cultural development is a very important event for the changing culture. Nowadays, at present, we notice tremendous change in the culture of Bangladesh. I think within very few days, this type of tremendous change all over the world. The impact of technology and cultural development, rapid advancement of modern technology and material culture improve the culture of a society. The whole world has turned into a global village due to the improvement of information technology. Now you can learn what is happening on the other corner of the world sitting at home. As an example, at present, you are at your home and I am here. We are changing our view. I should know, I can know your culture. You can know my culture, what I am doing, what I am talking, what you are doing at your house. I can see you, you can see me, you can ask me, you can answer, you can talk to me. But few days before, it was not possible. So we received it from other culture, from other country. So one culture is coming in touch with another. Generally, poor culture is receiving quickly the elements of rich culture. Thus, technology transforms culture and develop it. So, the technology can prevent the change our culture. The technology can prevent this development, quickly cultural development of Bangladesh. Now, the cultural development. Man lives to work step by step, you know. This is called physical development. In the same manner, we notice change in the products man uses and consume in these thoughts and sentiments. We call it cultural development. What is cultural development? Cultural development is changes in the products man uses and consume in his thoughts and sentiments. We call it cultural development. But remember, in culture, positive and expected change is called cultural development. What is called development? Positive and expected change. An example, once upon a time, when man thinks that development means the economic progress. But nowadays, according to the sociologist, development means social development. Development or social development is a kind of social change. Mind it, my dear boys. Development or social development is a kind of social change. As social development causes cultural change, I repeat, as social development causes cultural change, also cultural change brings about development. For example, dear boys, the use of tractor in place of plow is a material cultural change. As a result of this production in agriculture has increased, which has improved people's standard of living. When tractor was in place of plowing, the irrigation of agriculture, the production of agriculture has increased, which has improved the people's standard of living. Thus, cultural and social change and development combinedly improve society. Am I clear to you? Thus, cultural and social change and development combinedly improve our society. Now, the cultural change and development process of Bangladesh. Some activities are more important than others from the cultural point of view. Some activities are more important than others from the cultural point of view. The activities that reflect the power of thinking and intellectual status of a nation are considered as an art. I repeat. The activities that reflect the power of thinking and intellectual status of a nation are considered as an art. Like literature is an art, visual art is an art, music is as an art of Bengali art and culture. But today, I would like to discuss the development of Bengali literature. Cadets, I would like to only literature to development their Bengali literature. It may be divided into three periods: ancient period, medieval period, and modern period. Ancient period consists 650 to 1200. Medieval age is 1200 to 1800, and modern is considered 1800 to up to this time. So, come to the point. You know that oldest form of Bangla literary works discovered so far is Chorjapad. I think you have heard this name, Chorjapad. And Chorjapur discovered by Pandit Haruprasad Shastri from Royal Court of Nepal. It was written by Buddhist monk more than 1200 years ago. I think, as far I know, the number of writers was 47. Among these, Luipa, Kanupa, Kukuripa, Chatilpa, Kamilpa are the famous Chorjapur writers. Cadets, see the screen, the writing style of Chorjapur. After that, the next step of Bangla literature was the Sultan Era. The Sultan Era was also very influenced by Sri Chaitanya Dev and his Vaishnava philosophy. Sultan Era was very influenced by Sri Chaitanya Dev and his Vaishnava philosophy. During this period, Kirtinas were very trendy. He wrote famous love story, Sri Krishna and Radha. Most probably, I don't know you can enjoy or not the Radha Krishna or Sri Krishna Radha. And another book is Sri Krishna Kirtan. These are commonly known as Vaishnava Padavali. I think you all know the fact of Radha Krishna. And there was a famous song. As far I know, the Bonomalu Tumi Porojaname Hoyo Radha. Some of the prominent writers at that time were Vidyapati, Chandidas, Gyandas, Govindodas, Maladhar Basu, Ramai Pandit, Sayyid Sultan, Abdul Hakim, Daulat Kaji. These are the famous writers at that time. That means medieval age of Bangla literature. And we know that Hindu-Muslim relation was very good at that time. Now, Mongol Kabya. Many poets compose story, lyrics based on local god and goddesses. The influence of god and goddesses at that time was very high. And this type of compose known as Mongol Kabya. We know that the Chandi Mongol, written by Mukundaram, Dharma Mongol, written by Ghanuram, and the Manasa Mongol of Vijayagupta are quite renowned at the time. The Ananda Mongol of Bharat Chandra Raigunakar depict the social condition. You can see different type of Mongol Kabya. Cadets, you can see the different type of Mongol Kabya. All are influenced by god and goddesses. Now, the Puthi literature. Cadets, it was a romantic Iranian story. Some of the well-known puthis are Yusuf Julekha, Laili Mojnu, Saiful Muluk Bodiuzzaman, Jangonama, Poddavati, composed by Alaol, is hugely celebrated in Bangla literature. And I think you know the tune of Puthi. At the time, Moymansingo Gitika, written by Abdul Karim Sahitya Bisarud, was very prominent. Friends, during the time of 1600 to 1800, many writers contributed in our Bengali literature, like Bankim Chandra, Raja Ram Mohan Rai, Kaikobad, Ismail Hossein Shirazi, Hasan Raja, Dinobandhu Mitra, Mir Musharraf Hossain enriched our Bengali literature. The instruction of Bengali prose began in 19th century. Ishwar Gupta was the poet of transition. And Michael Madhusudan Datta introduced the new concept, sonnet. Sonnet. In Bengali term, Chotushpadi. Yes, cadets, I can remember. The last 8 lines of sonnet, which I have memorized before 34 years ago, that Bongo Joner Kane Shokhe Shokharite Nam Tare Probashe Moji Premo Bhave Loese Je Tabo Nam Bonger Songite. That is the sonnet of Michael Madhusudan Datta. Ishwar Chandra Vidyasagar, Raja Ram Mohan Rai are the famous writers. They wanted to reform the society and introduce Bengali nationalism. Ram Mohan Rai, Ishwar Chandra Vidyasagar was the reformer, social reformer, religious reformer, educationally reformer, and they were the initiator who introduced Bengali nationalism. Cadets, now I should say something about our modern age. After that, Rabindranath Tagore. I think you all know about the poet of Rabindranath, song of Rabindranath. Kazi Nazrul Islam, you know about him. Dr. Muhammad Shahidullah is linguist. Sunil Gangopadhyay of West Bengal, Shishandu, Samaresh Majumdar, Samaresh Bosu, Sanjeev Chattopadhyay, Nihar Ranjan Gupta of West Bengal enriched our Bengali literature. In our portion, Munir Chaudhary, Humayun Azad, Al Mahmud, Juhir Rahan, Shahidullah Kaisar, and some other had a significant role in the development of Bengali literature. Humayun Ahmed introduced a new style of Bangla literature, you know. Cadets, at the end of my speech, I think you will be benefited from this class. Here is a stem. And question. In my next class, you will submit the assignment, which I will uploaded on 13th June, and you will deposited your assignment in sorry, I will update it 11 June and you will deposit it 13 June. Cadets, in my next class, we'll discuss about the development of music as an art and visual art. So my dear cadets, take care of yourself and stay fine. Thank you very much. Thank you all.